Good evening. Today on the live feed, I have, as you can see, I have the lovely Mackenzie McEvoy-King in the studio with me today. Hi, Mackenzie.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. Now, I've invited Mackenzie along because I've actually known Mackenzie for a long time and, well, only a short part of my life, but I've known her most of hers. So for me, that's a long time. With that, in that time, I've seen lots and lots of things. And I remember a couple of years ago, your mum just like flooded Facebook with all these photos and all these things that Mackenzie was doing. And I think you had an entire town and an entire friendship group that were just like so behind everything that you were doing because it was quite amazing. So we're going to come to that story in a second. And I think what made that story so special was the fact that that Mackenzie has a very strong sense of mateship. And that's something that has come through from your family. And I know I mentioned in our little pre-warm-up that that my dad and your grandfather actually had a really nice, to me, it was the beginning of my real understanding of mateship, because we were about to move to your suburb, to semi-rural Appin in New South Wales, and my dad's car broke down. He'd gone up one weekend to have a look at our farm and his car broke down, and this guy who my dad did not know sort of stopped and asked him, did he need a hand? And he said, look, I've got to get back down to Wollongong. And your grandfather actually just said, well, here, mate, drop me home, take my car. I'll see you next week when you get back. And they had never met prior to that. But, well, you knew Lloyd, so that's so your grandfather. And to me, that was the epitome of the mateship and local community and what a community like Appin was all about. So now, tell me, Mackenzie, when you were 10, your mum tells me that you went to an Anzac Day march. Now, for you, what changed after that march?
Well, I've attended marches my entire life. Ever since I was a baby, Mum would always take me to marches, and it's such an integral part of my life. But I suppose that year I noticed that there were so many students marching and people were so proud. And I knew that was just something I needed to do. It was just like our school, so my public school in Appin, it wasn't marching, and I knew that I needed to get us involved because it was just to see how proud everyone was. It's just something that I felt like I also wanted to represent our Anzacs and do the same. And I think that's really where my passion started for Anzacs. And it was a similar time to the centenary of the Anzac, that those 5 years where everyone kind of really, that became really big again, and the whole nation really grew and learnt about their own stories, and I learned about my own story, which was really important to me as well. So yeah, it was just that, seeing the other students and soldiers and cadets marching, and I knew that's something that we needed to do at Appin.
So how did you rally Appin to do that?
Yeah, so I wrote a letter to my principal at the time and asked if we could, try and get involved in the next year's one. So I was about in year 5 at the time, so I made it for the last one, and we did manage to start the marches up, and we now Appin marches every year. So that was pretty amazing to
when you were in year 6 was the first time that the school marched.
Yeah.
And you were school captain as well. So that would have been a mega proud moment for that. And
yeah.
And I know I know Appin's only a smallish town, but quite a credit to that whole mateship and local pride thing, that not only were you school captain, but your sister was and your brother. So all three have been school captain and continued that tradition, which is just amazing. Now, that was a little while ago. You're 17 now, and
Yep.
in year 12.
Yeah.
And you are studying 3-unit modern history, which is just like, that's amazing. 3-unit is from memory. 3-unit is that very hard one, or much harder than 2-unit. So what is your favorite part of the modern history that you've been studying?
I love learning about the wars. And the Australian involvement. It's just something I'm so passionate about. It really resonates with me, and I think just learning about the stories and the impact that had on the soldiers and the effects of war is just something that I'm really passionate about. It's what my major project for my extension history is going to be based on. So looking at the impact of war on soldiers and how the interpretation of historians has changed over time. And I'm also doing an art project on the same. So my major art is also going to be about soldiers and the impact that had on returned soldiers. So that's really
Wow.
yeah.
No, that's amazing. So
Yeah.
tell me, the biggest part of your story happened 2 years ago. How did you find out about the Anzac Ambassador program?
Yeah, so I have an amazing history teacher. Her name's Fran Musicarulo. This is something she's really passionate about as well. So she sent an email out to our grades in the school holidays when I was in year 10, so 2 years ago now.
Yep.
And basically she just told us about this tour. So it was 10 days. We were going to go to Greece, France, Belgium, and England. So I knew that instantly this was just something I needed to do. And we were required to write an essay for it. And I knew that it's just an opportunity that was really once in a lifetime. And I knew that I had to just be in it to win it, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I'm going to put up the little screen thing that I sent you last night that I've done, and in amongst this, there's a whole lot of photographs, and there's the acceptance letter and things like that. So I'll put that up now. So this is when we need to go to the side so that I can still see you and chat. I'll put that up, and we'll continue to chat through that. But this is pretty much where it all happened for Mackenzie. So you were part of the Air Force cadets for a little while.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
during that time?
Yeah, so it was about 2 years. I was in the Air Force cadets, which was an amazing experience. The qualities we learnt there was just something I can't forget, and I made some really amazing friends. And that really helped with my passion for Anzac, and hopefully I'm wanting to join the Defence Force after I leave school. So hopefully that's prepared me for that as well. So yeah.
Excellent. I'll run this little video thing again, but I remembered at the beginning there was some photos of your grandmother from World War II and also of your uncle. So during this process, I'll get you to talk about the trip in a minute. Tell me about your great uncle first.
Yeah, so my great uncle, his name was William Little King, and he grew up in the Campbelltown area in Minto. He served in World War One as a pilot, so that was amazing. He fought against the Red Baron and his squadron, which was really amazing in itself. But when he returned, he actually married the Prime Minister's daughter, so Sir Joseph Cook at the time. So that was interesting. But the reason why I'm so interested in the impact that war had on soldiers is partly because of my uncle, who actually did take his own life when he came home. And I think it's just really important to remember the impact that war has on these men, that it actually doesn't end once the war ends. So yeah, so his stories are something really meaningful to me and my family, and we just really appreciate and try to embrace his story as much as we can.
That's yeah, amazing. And they do. what seems like such a small part of our history can have such a long-term effect on all the further generations. So that's amazing that you're now using that to to study and to get some awareness out there and different things with that. So yeah, post-war mental health is just amazing. It's a minefield, really. There's a lot of people that just don't know where to go. And I know since doing this, working with this page, we've come across a lot of different groups that do things like the Soldier On Australia and lots of other groups that are now so much more aware of the effects of service, so which is amazing. Now, I think we're nearly at the end here, so we're going to play this again. And can you tell us about just like once you got that email saying you're in, like how did you feel? What was the whole process? What did you get to do?
Well, I submitted it in July and we didn't hear anything for about 2 months or 3 months. It was like the longest wait. We kind of almost gave up in a way. We didn't hear anything. But then one day I was in my history class and then I received the email and it was just, I was so full of emotion. It was just incredible. It was just something that I've always dreamed of doing, and to be able to have that opportunity, it was just truly amazing. I literally couldn't believe it. It was just unbelievable.
No, that is amazing. I saw too there the photographs of you and Tess and Finn dressed up at last year's Anzac Day one, I think it was. Now, here you go. Now you can tell us where. There's the couple here of the family history. So there's Mackenzie again. The next one I think is your uncle. There you go. So that was your uncle. What was his name again? William
Little King.
There you go. And this one here is your grandmother who
in the middle. Yep.
There you go. And there's Mackenzie and her siblings at last year's Anzac Day, and the letter, the email. So I'm pretty sure Mum's got that framed somewhere, hasn't she?
Yeah.
Okay, so you got to meet Gladys?
Yes, so the Premier.
The Premier, yeah. And this is our local MP and your mum. Okay, so where in Australia, what happened first with all these MPs and stuff? What did you have to do there?
Yes, so we so there was 6 of us from New South Wales that were chosen to go overseas and represent as an Anzac ambassador. So the first time we all met, we went to the Parliament House in Sydney, and so we met David Elliott, who was the Minister of Veteran Affairs at the time, who took us overseas. We also met our chaperones. So we went with Leslie Williams, Steve Camper, and Anthony Ball, who was a representative from Clubs New South Wales. So this was the first time we met them and each other. Like, we have never met before all the other students that were chosen, and they came from all across Wales.
How many people actually entered?
We weren't actually allowed to find out how many, but they said it was the largest amount of entries they've had since they've run the competition.
Oh, okay. That's I saw there's a photo of a turtle. Now, when I was doing the stalking, my research, not stalking, when I was doing my research, what was your comment about the turtle? That was kind of cute.
Well, when we were in Greece, we were going to the Acropolis and we were walking up the steps, and then we see a tortoise, but everyone thought it was a turtle, and it was just so crazy, like, just to see like a tortoise in the middle of this crazy city. It just wasn't expected. It was so insane, like, amazing.
Okay, now tell us which countries did you go to? Oh, actually, tell us about this photo. This one's really special, isn't it?
Yes, so that was when we were in Belgium at Men Gate. We were able to attend the ceremony there, which happens every night. And we were actually able to lay a wreath, which was it was such a privilege and really an honor to lay a wreath on behalf of our Anzacs. And yeah, it was so incredible.
The photos from this field are amazing. Where's this field at?
So that was also in Belgium, so in Ypres or Ypres. Just the amount of headstones that were there was just unbelievable. It's just so heartbreaking, really.
Yeah. And so you got to go to Greece. You went and you stood at the Olympic Stadium.
Yes, yeah, that was insane.
So you saw that. Now, what I did put a spiel up there. There is a letter in amongst the video about what happened at Lamaze, because you couldn't actually go there. But what was so important, like why was Lamaze included in the itinerary?
Yeah, we went to Lemnos. We actually did. We weren't allowed to go to Gallipoli though, but we went to Lemnos, and Lemnos was really important for the Gallipoli and Dardanelles campaign. So it's staged as like a training base and where all of the soldiers went before the landing at Gallipoli. And it's a whole side of the Australian history we don't really talk about. And Lemnos played such a huge part. It was a military base and a hospital. So like all the casualties went back to Lemnos to be treated. And actually Simpson's donkeys actually came for Lemnos. So that's yeah.
No, it was really interesting, sort of just going back through your posts from that time, and you could see how proud and all 6 of you were to actually be there. Do you keep in contact with the group?
Yeah, we do sometimes. We have a group chat and we always try to like talk in it. But there was only 2 of us that were in year 10 and the rest they're all off to uni and things like that now. So I guess we're all trying to keep in touch as much as we can, but we're all kind of busy at the moment, so yeah.
No, that was an amazing opportunity at 15 to sort of be able to go and see that. And I guess with your studies now for year 11, for year 12 and your artwork and stuff, you've actually got a much deeper understanding of what Anzacs are and why it is so important that we do that. Okay, now coming up, that's the Olympic Stadium. That one's pretty cool. Now there is a photo of the Sydney Hyde Park War Memorial. So you were at the opening of that.
Yes, so I was invited, we all were invited to the opening of the extension, which was exciting in itself. So it was an invitation from the Premier. We didn't really know much about what was going to happen, so we went. But when we arrived, there was lots of security and security measures in place, and it was right about the same time that the Invictus Games were on. So Prince Harry and Meghan were out in Australia to launch the Invictus Games. So when we were actually sat down and we looked at our catalogue, we actually found out that they were in attendance to unveil it. So I was at the same event as the Royals. So that was insane, like so crazy and so unexpected.
I loved the Facebook post that's coming up because it wasn't your post, it was your mother's. She got to sit outside while you were inside. So that was kind of that. Well, you know, all mums are proud when their kids do amazing things, but yeah, to sort of have to sit outside while you were inside would have, I can imagine your mum going, oh, that's not fair. But would have been, well, I saw from the post she was immensely proud of you. Now, I know the history and everything is brilliant. Can you I've been watching the photos of what Appen is doing for Anzac Day this year, because we all know about the whole isolation thing, no public gatherings, we're not allowed to organise anything that involves groups of people. I love that one. You'll have to come back to that one in a minute, the little photo of the surprise gift that you found. Again, something that the family put into your bag for you. When did you, we'll come back to the Appen thing, when did you find the gift?
So when I arrived in Athens, that was our first stop. I opened my bag and then I had like a card and I read it, and then I opened the little gift. It was like in a little box, and it was really sweet and a bit teary. Yeah, it was really sweet.
So the ribbons had a meaning, didn't they?
Yes, so they were the Australian colours that Mum put together. So it was like Australia from home, as we were overseas representing, and it had a medal that was meant to help us on our travels, which is like a
yep.
And she gave us me some soil to place on the graves, just a little part to put over there from home, so the soldiers could have, which is really sweet and meaningful.
Yeah, I saw that that there's actually soil from Appen on the wall in Sydney as well, or Canberra at the War Memorial.
Yes, yeah. So that's, all of the towns that our men enlisted from. So yeah, that was really awesome to go and see Appen's name on there amongst the wall of all New South Wales towns. It was, yeah.
Excellent. Now, that's right. What is, apart from doing the dawn service with the rest of us on Anzac Day, once the dawn service has the driveways at dawn has finished, what does your suburb, what does your community have lined up?
Yeah, so we in Appen, we've been trying to get some community like poppy gardens and a place that people can go to reflect on Anzac Day and in their own time, since we can't all go together and attend. But other than the dawn service, we are planning to go out to our front lawns and hear the last post, and or try to be in a ceremony whilst in isolation, I guess. So yeah, so there's already been such great reception of it amongst Appen people, and it's really great to see the community coming together to support each other in this, and also our Anzac. So yeah, it's been really awesome.
I saw the photo of the wall, and so they've actually put up in the Memorial Park, they've put up a 3-sided sort of demo wall with a nice poster in the middle, but they've invited the entire town to bring photographs of people that they want to remember, and put the photographs on the wall, so that, again, everybody in their own time, so that it's not a lot of people, but one by one over the next week or so, people can come through and pay their respects. So that's that's amazing. I know when we first moved to Appen, there wasn't a huge amount of things there, but there is now a great memorial park. We've, you've done the wall. There's the gateway into the park. There's a whole lot of things, and where the big tree is on the corner, that's got the whole poppy garden happening at the moment, and so amazing things from both Mackenzie's family and a lot of other families. There's a guy named Ken who's been quite instrumental in everything, and the local Chamber of Commerce, and a whole pile of things. So there's been a lot of community work involved there, so which has been amazing. Now, I'm just going to quickly have a look at the comments and see if there are any questions for us. This video will disappear in a minute, and we will have a look at there you go. Somebody wants to see your artwork. So that is, well, where am I? That is something that down the track, yeah, we'd love to sort of see that on the page. That would be great. Now, here's your local. I know Deb. She's the president of your local Chamber of Commerce, so I know she's been a massive support of everything that you've been doing. So that's amazing.
In preparing and organizing this, and like really well done to Deb and everyone who's been involved in that. It's so awesome.
Well, there you go. Well, I call you friend. This lady gets to call you niece, and she's more than proud of you, which I can completely understand. And well, you can guess who this one is, can't you? That would be your mum, and she is beyond proud, and so she should be. I 100% agree that the future is in good hands with people like you at the helm. So I'm going. I'll keep putting up some of these comments for you so you can see them. But we will. And is there? I think I've covered everything, haven't I? That we sort of talked about. History. Yeah, no, we've covered all that. So I will thank you again for coming along and joining me and giving me access to all those beautiful photos and your story and what you guys have done. There you go. This one pretty much sums it up. I don't know who this one is, but that sums it up because, yeah, amazing. Oh, you're going to like this one. You've got people from France have been watching you as well today. So there you go. There is amazing support there. And I will give Clubs New South Wales a quick plug there. This is their link, and this is where there's a whole pile of information on the Anzac Ambassador. And I did just remember one last thing. You were going to talk this year at the Anzac Day service in Campbelltown.
Yeah.
So what were you going to, just give us a quick rundown on what you were going to talk about, because that's a pretty big honour. That's a big service.
Yeah, it was really, when I was offered the opportunity, I jumped on it. It was just such an honour to be able to speak. But basically, I was focusing on the impact that war had on Campbelltown, and focusing on the boys from Campbelltown and our area who went overseas, and the numbers of the men that went over from just Campbelltown alone is so heartbreaking. And just to know there's so many small towns and communities out in New South Wales and Australia where their boys didn't come home, it's just really heartbreaking. And so I just really wanted to touch on the meaningful side, and also talk about my uncle and his story, since that's just so really important to me. So yeah.
Okay, now there's a bit of a recurring question here that says, what do you see yourself doing in the next few years? Like, what does the future hold for you? Your mum has said what's she going to be when she grows up. Man, Bron, you're going to have to put your glasses on, because I think Mackenzie has grown up. So what are the plans for the next couple of years?
So I'm hoping to join the Defence Force. I'm looking at becoming a submariner, hopefully a medical submariner, working in submarines in the Navy. That's probably my dream at the moment. It'd be such an amazing opportunity to serve and do my part, and sort of, not that I ever really compare to the impact that and the sacrifice that they gave 100 years ago and onwards, but to be able to say that I was there with them serving would just be really just the next dream come true for me. Otherwise, I'd love to go into history and maybe museums and curating and things like that, focusing on war as well, since it's so integral to me and my learning. So, yeah.
Excellent. One of our admin team is is in the Navy, and I know my niece, she's been in the Navy for a long time and was sort of one of the first women to actually have the job that she had on submarines and things. So the world has changed a lot in the last sort of 50 years, because 50 years ago, I know women weren't allowed on submarines at all, but now the Navy is a job that anyone can do. So, it's opened up a lot of doors for those that are interested. So that's amazing. Now, I'm not sure. Okay, your mum says, and she's asked me like 5 times now, your mum said I have to ask you about the 4:59 p.m. deadline.
Yeah, so for when I actually had to submit my my essay for the actual competition or scholarship, we had last minute trouble with the internet, and I literally got my essay in like just a second before the deadline ended, and it was like we didn't actually know if it was in on time, and we were devastated because just to know that we put so much hard work in just to miss out by a second would be absolutely gut-wrenching. But we actually managed to get it in on time, and it was just like a huge relief, really. Like, it was horrible. Like, our hearts are just going crazy, just insane.
So I actually moved out of Wilton about 10 years ago, but it's kind of comforting to know that technology is still not our friend. It's semi-rural living is awesome and I love it, but there are definitely some issues with it. So yeah, the last thing you need is your computer to break down a minute before a major deadline. So I'm really, for you, I'm excited that you did get it in, and that you blew their socks off, and away you went to an amazing trip. So I think that was all we were going to mention today. We've got I think I've answered all the questions now. Seeing your mum's gone no, and I think that I'm not sure. You will have to chat to your mum about why she's saying no. I think that was to do with your plans for the future, maybe. So, there you go.
She doesn't want me.
What doesn't she want?
She doesn't want me to go off and be underwater for months. She's a bit worried about that.
Well, it's, there are, like I said, there are many, many opportunities now within all the armed forces for people coming up through the ranks. So plenty to do. Now, your mum's just given me one more prompt, saying that you met somebody in London. Who did you meet in London? Here you go. Family. She met family.
So half of my family, so on my dad's side, they live in Ireland and a few in England. So I was able to meet a couple of my cousins for the first time, which was really amazing just to be able to meet them. And that was just an opportunity I probably wouldn't have had so soon if I didn't have the opportunity to go overseas. So to meet my cousins was really awesome, and I'm so grateful even just for that.
Excellent. No, life-changing event, I'm sure, and quite an amazing experience. And I can't wait to see where you go in the next couple of years. I know at the moment your biggest challenge, though, is just getting the HSC finished. So that, so good luck with your studies. And hopefully, the way the world is at the moment, that you will actually get them finished at some stage this year. And now you've been with me on the Aussies and Kiwis for Anzac live feed, so I'm going to just give them a bit of a plug. And so we need to follow along on Aussies and Kiwis for Anzacs. There is a group and a page. Okay, we've got a few things happening at the moment, and I've already challenged your suburb to do the photograph with this hashtag on some of the amazing things that they've done, like the poppy garden, because that one is for the photo competition that we have happening. Next week, we are going to be speaking with, or I am going to be speaking with, Ivan Slavic. He's the CEO of Soldier on Australia, and he may well be somebody you may need to get in contact with, because they're all about supporting the veterans when they come home. So that one is good. Tuesday, I'm talking to Trev Harwood about a documentary. I've got to love it. Jay gave me my list and he's used abbreviations like I know what they are. So sorry, Trev. I know Trev's been watching us each night. So I will know by Tuesday what Trev's documentary is about, and we'll be chatting to Trev. Wednesday, I'm going to talk to Bill Sowery and Terry James. Now, these are the other two guys that sort of at one end of Australia kind of went, no Anzac Day, what are we going to do? Whilst at the other end of Australia, Justin Wilbur kind of went, no Anzac Day, what are we going to do? And that's where the entire story started. So we did that one. Okay, Thursday we'll have an update from Justin, and on Friday we'll probably do a bit of a rundown about what's going to happen on Saturday. Now, your area, your community is massive. Like we've got the Appin War Memorial Inc. there on Facebook. I know that within all the different communities, it's actually worth contacting or at least, you know, Googling, finding out about your local war memorials, your local historical societies, because they're the guys that have a lot of information about what happened in the local areas. And as you can see, like it will inspire generations to come. So once again, Mackenzie, thank you very much for joining me and for sharing your story. And like I said, good luck in your HSC, and I can't wait to see where you go to next. Thank you
so much.
That's all right. Okay, stay there for a minute. I'm going to play the music again, and and then we're done. So thank you.
No worries. Thank you so much.